Evening, everybody. This is Taylor with GamEdge coming at you with a quick market status for Monday, July 11th. Here's our general disclaimer page. Please use this a read. When you're ready, let's move on. So here we have our tick US model. Throughout the week, we've been talking about how this has been more constructive for the upside on a short-term basis. We have both of our short-term signals triggered and active, and we finished at the high of the range on Friday. So all of this is very constructive on a short-term basis headed into Monday. Here we have our tick ARCX model, similar story to what we just talked about. Here we have 3 short-term signals triggered and still active, and again we finished at the highs. So again, this is constructive headed into next week. Here we have our PBI dashboard for SPY. This is Friday's dashboard. To the upside, we've been talking about this 390 target, which is our plus GEX. Ideally, to see more upside, we want to see this shift higher, ideally up to 400, which would be the next target. To the downside, 385 would be the first stopping point I'd want to see hold. After that, we go from 380 and then negative GEXs all the way down to 370. Here we have the SPY 5-minute chart. It's kind of just a different representation of what we just talked about. You can see here the green line is plus GEX. We were talking about this importance of this 380 level holding. We were bearish below that, bullish above. We saw a nice push early in the week, capped off with chop around plus GEX. So ideally we want to see this plus GEX shift higher next week, which would allow us to progress then higher with targets. Here's our daily chart. Again, just a zoomed out perspective. So we broke above this key 385 level on Thursday, held and chopped around on Friday. Right now we're I kind of arbitrarily drew this lower high and higher low box. I could see us chopping around here. Ideally, we get a new higher high made above this lower high. That'd be most constructive for the bulls. All right, so here we're going to run through the industry ETFs. It's a weekend video. So here we have XLK, kind of equal cumulative put GEX, cumulative call GEX. And then here, looking at levels, there's really not too much upside with plus GEX at 135 and prices sitting at 133. So headed back to this just to see more. We do have some gamma building to the upside, but we want to see this plus GEX shift higher. XLY, you can see very heavy put dominance here. Again, trading below 0 GEX, so to the long side, nothing favorable here. XLI, similar story, very heavy concentrated of put negative GEX. XLB, same story. XLF, same story, traded below 0 GEX, heavy put negative GEX. XLE, same story. This one's had a dramatic pullback here. A lot of put GEX built up, and we are trading below the 0. XLU, again here we are at negative cumulative GEX. We are actually trading above zeros and trending towards plus GEX. Again, just because it's negative cumulative GEX doesn't mean it can't move higher. We just know from our back testing that it is not as favorable of a condition for that. Here's XLV. This is probably the most constructive of all of our indices. Here you can see the magnitude of call GEX over put GEX, trading well above 0 GEX, and we're right at the P-trans level. So here we typically like to look to move higher all the way up to plus GEX. Again, this is the one that I'm looking at most closely headed into next week. Real estate XLRE, again, not a very favorable setup. XLP, again, same story, not great here. So that does it for industry. Just a couple other select ETFs I know a lot of people have interest in. So here we have SMH Semiconductors, as a lot of the industry ETFs we just went over, not a favorable setup here. IGV, this is the software ETF. This is actually the opposite of SMH that we just talked about. So here we're in cumulative GEX, positive GEX, sitting right at P-trans with a move up to plus GEX at 300. Home builders, not a favorable condition here for longs. XBI, again, this is another one that we've been calling out last week into this week. If you're following it at home, we had plus GEX at 80, and now we've seen that shift to 90. So this is really constructive action that is kind of a staple and a hallmark of what we look for when we want to get long. So again, if you're in this target, would be towards 90, and ideally we would see this start to shift towards 100, which would then open up some runway further for longs. Lastly, we have retail, again, not a very constructive setup here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, short and sweet on this weekend, hitting on the industry ETFs and some other select ETFs. If you guys enjoyed this, feel free to visit our website, sign up for a risk-free 2-week trial, come see all of our full suite of tools, interact with the community, ton of great traders there. We'd love to have one more. And again, we have our Twitter page down here. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys on Monday night, Tuesday. Bye.